Why'd you take me off? What was wrong with that goal I just kicked?
After a burst like that, you need time for your body to resynthesize creatine and phosphate into phosphocreatine. Not to mention the breakdown of glycolysis in your liver.
Hey?
The benefits of exercise are many, particularly when it involves regular exercise programs, playing sport and training. Proper preparation for exercise is also important, but something that is every bit as crucial as preparing is recovery, and this can sometimes get overlooked. This program is about recovery from exercise. By exercise we mean a concentrated exercise session, like playing sport or training, not just the exercise we might do in the normal course of our everyday lives. We'll briefly recap the 3 energy systems of the body, take a look at the effects of exercise on each energy system, look at other effects of exercise on the body, and we'll examine strategies for recovery from exercise.
Your body is like a machine. It uses fuel for energy that makes moving parts do work. So when you exercise, like when you kick that great goal, you need to replace the fuel and get rid of the waste products. Oh, here look, I've got this great DVD that shows you all about it.
Actually, I don't have time right now, and neither do you for that matter.
This is important. There's just a few things I want you to see, okay? Come on.
The body functions using 3 different energy systems, which synthesize adenosine triphosphate, or ATP, the energy used by our muscles to do, well, just about anything. The 3 energy systems are different, but they don't work in isolation from one another. First, the ATP-PC or phosphagen system. When our muscles use ATP, it involves a chemical reaction, which sees an ATP molecule give off one of its phosphates to become ADP, or adenosine diphosphate. Other compounds known as phosphocreatine, or PC, also exist within the muscle, and their molecules combine with ADP to form ATP once again. This reaction is very quick, but it can't last very long. The average muscle stores enough PC to supply about 10 seconds worth of ATP. Any physical activity that involves a short burst of movement makes most use of the PC system. Another energy system in the body is the lactic acid system. This system works by synthesizing new ATP molecules in the muscles. The way it does this is by glycogen, which is the stored form of carbohydrate or sugar in our muscles, undergoing a process called anaerobic glycolysis, which results in ATP and a substance we don't want called lactic acid. About 12 chemical reactions occur to make ATP by this process, so it is supplied at a slower rate than the ATP-PC system, but can keep going for around 30 seconds. There is a limit because when the lactic acid buildup becomes too great, it makes the muscles hurt. The third energy system is the aerobic system. The aerobic system supplies working muscles with oxygen. It starts as soon as exercise begins, but takes around 30 seconds to reach its peak output. A process called aerobic glycolysis takes place, which completely breaks down stored glucose, resulting in the byproducts of carbon dioxide and water. As well as processing glycogen, the aerobic system processes fats. The mix of what is processed by the aerobic system depends on the type of exercise. During low-intensity exercise, there is a high percentage of fats processed, whereas during high-intensity exercise, a high percentage of glycogen is processed. And when the available stores of glycogen are almost depleted, fat reserves in the body become the major source of energy. Imagine you start exercising, like going for a run. Initially, the muscle cells will burn off the ATP they have floating around in the first few seconds. If you only go for a short run, like a 100-metre sprint, this is the main source of energy for that explosive start. Then the ATP-PC system becomes the main source of energy for the next 10 seconds or so. Sprinters and those involved in short, explosive bursts of physical activity rely heavily on the ATP-PC system. If exercise continues, the lactic acid system becomes a major supply of energy until the aerobic system reaches full capacity. This is usually between 10 and 20 seconds of further exercise.
The explanation of DOMS is what it stands for. It's delayed onset of muscle soreness, and so it occurs sort of 1 to 3 days post exercise, and it's normally through exercise that your body's not familiar with, or that it's an increased level of stress. So you might overload your body with an increased level of stress. It might be heavier weights in the gym, might be an increased intensity with your running, and that creates more microtrauma, and then your body has to adapt and repair from that microtrauma, and so that trauma will peak within 3 days, and then it will gradually dissipate throughout the next 3 to 4 days. Length, because of the fact that they're tightening throughout the session, it's important then to do some static stretching to actually return the muscles to their pre-exercise length.